A long time ago, there lived two best friends, Adobe and Prince Nalu. They had been very close since they were young. Prince Nalu was the king's only child and son. His mother had died long ago when he was a kid, and the king refused to remarry for fear of Prince Nalu being treated wrongly. Adobe, on the other hand, had also lost her mother, and she lived with her father, stepmother, and other siblings. Adobe was a very beautiful girl and the most beautiful in the whole community. She was loved and respected because she had good manners and was very sympathetic to others. So the two of them had a common ground of having lost their mother at a young age. They would both sit and talk at length, consoling each other in times of trouble. They became very close, and thus they fell in love as they were growing up. They did everything together, and people often called them brother and sister. In the community, they had in there a custom. It was a tradition that before any man got married to a woman, he would have to be flogged 300 lashes. But for the most beautiful girls in the community, it will be 500 lashes. The lash used was the tail of a cow that was dried and very, very flexible and big. On the traditional day of marriage, each prospective bride will stand while the husband-to-be will be flogged in her presence. If he was able to withstand the strokes of cane, the marriage will be quickly done and the wife taken to his house. So many young men in the village had managed to bear the pains to get married after 300 strokes of cane. But many of the men and women still remain unmarried because of the pain and fear of going through such trauma. The king's son, Prince Nalu, and Adobe decided that they will get married, but if anything happened along the line and Nalu could not withstand the pains from the lashes, and someone else came along for a hand in marriage, she should be able to accept if the man is able to withstand the pain. But Adobe did not want to hear of this. She loved Prince Nalu, and that was final. Many young men came along for Adobe's hand in marriage, but they could not withstand the lashes, and so left 500 lashes to marry a girl. 500 lashes. Adobe was now getting old, and she was 24, and her age mates were now married with children, because at the time, girls often got married from the age of 14. 500 lashes of koboko was too much for a man to withstand because he wanted to get married to a beautiful girl. And so the young men were going for those with lashes of 300 strokes. The king kept worrying about his son. His son was getting on in age and he needed more children in the family. But Nalu refused to marry any other girl except Adobe, whom he loved, but knew he would not be able to withstand the pain from the lashes. When Adobe turned 27, it became a fact that her beauty was now a problem to her because no man agreed to suffer the torture of 500 lashes. When the king's men saw that the prince had refused to marry because of the flogging and he was getting on in age, they went to the king and drew his attention to it. "O king, The eldest of them exclaimed, "Our prince is getting old and the king needs more heirs. We want him to choose a bride. The prince must choose a bride." "Thank you, my people," the king said. "I've been begging him to choose a bride for long now, but he has refused." "Good," another of the men said. "Let us speak with him." Prince Nalu was invited and given an ultimatum to choose a bride and be present at the next communal marriage ceremony coming up in 2 months' time from the day they were talking. At last, Nalu, the prince, told Adobe that it was better he took the lashes of Cain and died because he wanted to marry her than to allow her to become an old maid and a laughingstock of the village. Given an ultimatum to choose a bride, he also told her about it and said it is better he chose her. So that year, when it was time for the communal marriage ceremony to take place, Nalu, going to choose his bride, he announced that he was getting married on that day, and everyone was happy that the chiefs and the elders had really tried and made a point. His father was happy. So on that day, as everyone was gathered for the ceremony to begin, the men were told to call out the names of the brides to be. So they started to call the names. When it got to Nalu's turn, Nalu called Abi as his prospective bride. As soon as he mentioned that name, his father was taken aback. "How can Nalu choose Adobe?" he asked within him. "Can he withstand the 500 lashes?" he thought, crying within. He was not happy at all because he knew his son was not as strong as that. And for his only son to choose a girl worth of 500 lashes was something he was afraid of. So he called him and asked him about it. Nalu replied that he was willing to take the chances. Adobe herself begged him not to do that she was ready to become an old maid and never get married as long as he was alive than to lose him. But Nalu would not agree. He had made up his mind. When it was the day and it was time, now everyone was assembled. The flogging was to commence. Each of the young men lay on the mat in front of the prospective brides. The gong was struck, and the lashes began to rain on the backs and buttocks of the young men. As the flogging continued, a young man, on getting to 95 strokes of cane, jumped up to his feet and shouted that he was done and was not going to take any more of the cane because he wanted to marry a woman. "For what?" he exclaimed. "I'm going to my parents' house." He ran away. But the others continued to bear as they were still lying down. The cane, the flogging continued raining on their buttocks and their backs until it got to 300 lashes. Those who were able to withstand it were held and made to marry the girls, while the king's son, Nalu's flogging, continued. When it got to 455, it was evident Prince Nalu was no longer responding to the flogging. The king was shivering on his seat. Adobe shouted, "Stop it! Stop it! He must be dead by now." The descent of the lashes stopped, and the king shouted, as though waking up from a trance, "My son, my heir dead?" He jumped out of his chair and ran to hold his son. People rushed towards where Nalu lay and started pouring in water and trying to resuscitate him. Adobe was wailing, "My beauty will never be the death of Prince Nalu, my friend, my everything. My beauty will never be the death of Nalu or anybody. She kept on shouting and wailing until at last, and luckily for everyone, including the king, Prince Nalu was able to start breathing once again. That was how the king banned flogging of lashes as a marriage custom in the kingdom. Prince Nalu and Adobe were joined together as husband and wife. Many traditional customs today have been stopped because of the bizarre nature of it all. Don't forget to like and share my videos and to subscribe. People are asking for my contact. You can find it in the description below. Thanks for watching.